So my podcasts are all done except for my one, considering uh, ongoing research, and I want to spend less time on social media. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to learn at least one programming language and trigonometry before the school term that starts uh, September something, the end of September. That's enough time. That's enough time for any student to learn. Well, most of trigonometry and most of HTML. I mean, if you're really trying your best, if you're really putting and doing a little bit, at least 5 days a week, 4 days a week. In between a term, I'm gonna give myself some break time. Um, but I think this one's going in my podcast about the. I've got a podcast here. That's about the violations the government's committed against me, and I just hit the play button because I don't have to look to know that I know that the government's still watching me, because I know their personality by now, and the personality of the government is they don't like they think it's they seem to have this asinine idea or perception that being called out for the wrong they do and correcting themselves means that they've shown some kind of weakness, or that they think that maybe everyone's going to have the idea that they can just tell the government what to do and then they'll just back off. No, no, no. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's a difference between somebody that's guilty and somebody who's not guilty. So yes, USG, I get to tell you to back off, and so does anybody else when they know they're innocent and when we find you illegally intercepting our traffic. So yeah, back the fuck off. Go away. You don't have any right. And I'm going to fight for those rights. And you do what you got to do. Whether it be some sort of selective prosecution, like maybe popping into my home and apprehending me for the cannabis that's in my home. I wouldn't put that past you. I wouldn't put anything past you. That's how dishonest you would become to me. Because you won't do that to anybody else. But I do believe that you would do it to me. And I'm waiting for you to. I'm waiting for you to make any number of mistakes so I can use it against you in court. And you know that. So I think you're smart enough to not make those mistakes. At least half of them. So I do what I do. Knowing the government is not as stupid as I want them to be. Yeah, I said that. So, because you know the wrong here. And you know I'm not doing anything wrong by being pissed that you're violating the law. You just don't want other Americans and real criminals to have the idea that they can get up here and just make a podcast and have Uncle Sam go away. No, you backed off by however many states, 3, 4, or 5, away from your FBI, away from your White House, and then a 15-minute drive from the Atlanta FBI. So you halfway did what I'm demanding. And I've got that right to demand, okay? You need to respect a citizen's right to demand their rights when they're entitled to them. Okay, I'm not in prison. I'm not an inmate. I'm entitled to my fucking rights, okay? You don't have a warrant, okay? That's why you backed way the fuck off. Part of the reason. The other part is because, well, I'm exposing you and I informed you. So you backed off right away, didn't you? You sure did. And the public sees it. So I'm not asking anything unreasonable from you, and it is a weakness on your part, USG, if you are saying, well, we're going to do it anyway, because we don't like being told no. We don't like being told no. Nobody tells us what to do because we're the USG. We're going to swing our big dick around, right? No. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I said, you need to really solidify it that a citizen does have the right to tell you what to do. We fucking hired you. We fucking hired you. Okay? We hired the person that hired you. Get that straight. Get that through your heads. Okay? You work for us, not the other way around. You work for us. And then when you receive this position of authority, when you end up there, you can thank us for it. Me. For voting for Biden and Harris that hired you. Okay? That put you all in the fucking cabinet positions and then hired the feds that you hired. You're welcome. And some of them, are positions where none of us have any impact on because they're the term lengths, but you get what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's inappropriate for you to hear everything I've had to say and to put yourself in the kind of liability and say, well, no, we're going to fight him anyway because we don't want to be caught. What you're doing is you're making yourself look weak and pathetic because you're fighting a disabled guy. You're fighting a disabled guy that's fighting for the rights that he has a right to fight for, and you won't settle damages for the damage you've caused, but you're going to. You're going to, and you and I both know it. It's just a matter of time. And you're just waiting for me to slip up so you don't have to do that. That's not going to happen. Okay? And like I said, there's a difference between entrapment and exploitation. And you better watch your asses. Because you've been enacting a whole lot of exploitation against me. With the cooperation of X-Corp, by the way. That's going to end. If it hasn't already, because Elon Musk caught on. In a way that, at least I think there's some sort of mutual understanding between myself, Elon, and X Corporation that it's no longer appropriate to be fucking around with this guy. Okay? And I think at first Elon was maybe a little, maybe insecure, like, who's this guy putting me in this kind of position? Well, I'm me. I'm a worthy adversary. So I don't think he takes it so personal anymore. You don't mess with this guy. I don't think he's any longer any more embarrassed by me. Let me put it this way. What I'm saying is he knows that I'm not somebody you want to play chess with. Okay? And that's what you're doing. You're playing games with me. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're saying, we're backing off because we have to, but we're going to get away with as much as we can, and that's the subject of this episode is the USG is attempting to get away with as much as they can, because they don't like being told no. You need to get the idea out of your head, USG, that I'm telling you what to do. And that's what it's all about. No, I'm telling you to respect my rights, and I've got that right. I have the position to tell you what to do as it pertains to defending my rights when you violate them. If I'm innocent, I do. I've got the position. And you can suck my fucking dick if you don't like it. Hire somebody too, you know. Whatever you got to do. Joking. You don't deserve respect when you disrespect, okay? You don't. All the things I'm saying here are... Some of it's emotionally based because I've been assaulted. I've got the right to confront my attackers when... This is the purpose of the First Amendment. YouTube isn't going to encroach on my First Amendment. Google isn't going to encroach on my First Amendment. They're not going to say, you can't be saying this kind of stuff. Because they're not going to deny me my First Amendment. Does that make sense? They're not going to deny me my opportunity to speak for my Fourth Amendment if I feel the government is actively violating me and preventing me from seeking justice, which I do believe you're doing. You're monitoring my calls. You're monitoring my emails. The last lawyer that I communicated with was willing to communicate with me. Okay? Was willing to work with me until I told her a little bit more of the details. As soon as I mentioned Elon Musk's name, she says $10,000. $10,000. Legal aid won't provide an attorney, or they don't have one available, that specializes in tort claims in the state of Oregon and cybercrime at the same time. That's hard to find. And I can't just hire 2 different lawyers. I mean, I could. But... And it's really kind of funny that the ACLU has come out and said, we're no longer taking cases from the public because of an overwhelming amount of calls or whatnot. No. The cases that the ACLU is, in my opinion, they're talking about the people that are calling and saying, hey, the government's violating my rights. You know why? Because they're getting a bunch of calls. They're getting a bunch of calls about it, probably. So ACLU, you've put on your website the beef that you've got with the illegal watch listing that's happening, and the American people, you know, have complained about it. And now you're not willing to stand up for it? What happened there? Are you telling me that the U.S. has gained complete authority to say we're going to violate anybody's Fourth Amendment that we want? Bullshit! No. USG, you didn't just surveil me, you attacked my internal devices. That's an unreasonable search and seizure. And you did cause me intentional infliction of emotional distress. Several times. Such as making sure that you're intimidating my friend and I. We saw it. We shared that experience together. You're going to settle the situation with me, USG. Or I take it to a class action. I'll fucking go get everybody. I'll get everybody I have to join the court session. I'll get everybody I have to. Believe me, I'm a clever son of a bitch. You need to revise FISA. And I am not done with you until you settle redress on the damages I've seen. I am your one person that you need to make this right with, or else you're going to face the people. And I think that ends my podcast, but specifically for this episode, I mean for this one, unless for this podcast, this in particular, this episode, I believe it will end my podcast unless I have any further or more developments or anything else on my mind. But I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. I think I've kind of said it all, unless I have any other memories. But the acts committed against me have been nothing short of egregious. That's the reality of the situation. Okay, that's truth. And get this, public. The government arrests people when they come out and they say false things about them. I'm not in handcuffs. Because the government knows that I have data supporting my claims.